is distress at the family level, deaths at the family level, hunger, which makes people lose hope, movement, further displacement, external displacement, even more difficult than internal displacement. And most particularly, if I may say so, robbing the people of Afghanistan in a hope that their country will be their home and support now and in the near term.
Let's cross to Kabul now, where I'm joined by Jepsen. He's the Regional Communications Advisor for the Norwegian Refugee Council. So, Christian, we have heard constant pleas for aid to Afghanistan. No question the problems there are deep. But how much has the world stepped up already, and will it continue to step up to help?
We hope the world will not forget about Afghanistan. But what we've seen in the past month is that the world has all but pulled the plug to Afghanistan. There has been almost no assistance going in. We still have a number of NGOs ready to do the work in the field. But the problem is that almost no money is reaching us. So it's very limited what we can actually do. And as we just heard, we're in a desperate situation here. We have a bitterly cold winter with -15 during the night, and we have millions of people starving throughout the country. This is worse than I have ever seen in Afghanistan. So the situation is now that people are losing hope literally, and it's getting worse day by day.
I find it interesting that during these pleas, one big part of it is the migration issue. So it's almost, you could say, from a somewhat selfish perspective, that nations need to provide this assistance not merely to help human beings, but because they want to avoid floods of migrants on their own borders.
According to our information, there's a steady flood of people crossing the border every single day. It's thousands of people every day. They're in a desperate situation. But we need to help people both within Afghanistan, but also in the neighboring countries. This is why we have this appeal for both the region and also for Afghanistan. And the situation here with 9 million people just one step away from famine, then you need to act quickly. We already lost a lot of time. And the problem with this appeal is that if we don't get access to those funds within Afghanistan, it doesn't make sense at all. This is a high number, and we are very pleased to see that the world is actually coming together to assist Afghanistan. But here we are struggling to buy goods to help people. Normally we would buy everything we can within the country to support the economy, but now we have to buy in neighboring countries and with difficulty transport it across the borders. We simply need some flexible systems now, and we hope that all the donors and the entire international community, they start thinking in practical terms about how we can get those funds that are hopefully being committed today into Afghanistan and get it working and reaching people immediately.
When you're dealing with these donors, both public and private, I'm assuming, does it reach a point of something of a fatigue, since this crisis has extended itself for such a long period of time through war and now through a complete government change?
So it's obviously frustrating to be here in Afghanistan and have a team of 1,400 people ready to assist, and we have very little funds to work with, and we're reaching far too few people. On the other hand, we also see that people are coming together in the international community, the donors, the big players, the big countries. So we also have a sense that there's an interest to actually find solutions, but on the ground, and the people I meet, they don't feel it. The problem is that they're not getting the assistance they need, and now it's getting desperate. People are literally sitting in cold shelters and dividing a piece of bread amongst their family, and they don't know if they're going to get a piece of bread again tomorrow.
Yeah, you being there in Kabul, I'm sure you see a lot of problems just among people that you come in contact with that you wish you could do much more for.
Absolutely. So the people I talk to, they're used to having a difficult situation here, but they're also used to be able to go out to have work as casual laborers, moving things around, making a few dollars to support their families. Now this has all disappeared. They come home empty-handed, or they come home with maybe what corresponds to $1 to supply food for the family. It's also important to stress that the Afghans, they're used to helping each other. They share whatever little food they have. They cook together, and they try all the best they can to support their communities. But this situation is getting desperate. They're used to starvation almost, but now it's several steps more serious than it normally is at this time of year.
And one would think that seeing this situation, exactly what you described, that aid would come before it reaches an even deeper crisis point. But if it is going to take some time, do you feel like this $5 billion that the UN is asking for will come eventually? Because like I said, nobody wants to see this grow even worse.
So we are in the same situation as most other agencies. We are struggling to get even small amounts of cash into the country. And we know that all the donors and the institutions, they're trying to find solutions, but it's very complicated, obviously because they don't want to deal with the current authorities. They are trying to find solutions. Lots of things are being planned, but it just takes much too long time. People here simply cannot wait any longer.
Yeah, I think these are very important words for people to hear. So Christian, thanks for sharing them with us.